Hey, what's going on guys? Jolt here, back with another build video. And it's back. We are going to be going over Deputy, and I'm super excited to show it off. For those who don't know, for every game in the series, I like to do a Jacob-centered build. Well, in this case, it's a Blackpowder-centered build. And we like to get high damage out of the build, spam bullets, ricochet them around, and have a lot of fun with them. I'm going to say it now, this build will do it all, but when it comes to the secret bosses, you're not going to see any sort of like 1-2 second wipe. But you can still take them down reasonably fast. The final thing to bring up before I jump into it is this will be a Stabomancer and Spellshot centered build. With that character combination, you can get a lot out of the build and use Jacobs to its maximum potential. Her Blackpowder. I don't care, I'm calling it Jacobs, alright? Alright, let's go over the build now, and I'm gonna say right off the bat, snipers and assault rifles are pretty bad for Chaos 20 for Jacobs. Like, yes, it will do the mobbing pretty well, but when it comes to bossing, it really suffers, and I'd prefer to stick to the high damage weapons, which will be the pistols and the shotguns. With that being said though, you can slap on snipers and assault rifles to the build, but just know you're going to get more out of the pistols and shotguns. Since we're not doing a melee build, you're going to want to use the Goblin Pickaxe, so when you pick up any gold on the battlefield, you're going to get movement speed, spell cooldown, and action skill cooldown too. The one thing I do recommend you get on it is Amped at the bottom. With that, if you smack the enemy once, you're going to get 3 amp shots on your next 3 shots, and if you're using the shotgun, it will shred. For the do-it-all pistol, you want to go for a masher. Ideally, try to get the crossbolt attachment at the bottom for 3% damage per stick. So what you can do is spam at the target and stack a bunch of bolts and get crazy damage out of this. Even though it's purple rarity, this thing will beat out most legendaries in the game. The Masterwork Handbow. This thing is amazing when using the From the Shadows action skill. Each time you hit a critical hit, it's going to ricochet 6 bolts at other enemies nearby. So basically everything's going to be dead. The Kettle Drum. This thing is the BL3 Stagecoach in this game, and ideally you want to get your 25 pellet one, but I haven't found it yet. But nonetheless, 21 pellets is still going to hit really hard. This thing is really good for mobbing, it's good for bossing, and if you tap the enemy with your melee weapon for the amp shots, yeah, you can only imagine what it does. Keep in mind too, when you're in From the Shadows getting guaranteed crits, 21 pellets are going to be bouncing around every shot you take on the enemy and shred everything around you. Up next, we have the Rain of Arrows, and this thing is definitely your bossing weapon. So pop on your From the Shadows and shoot at the boss, and they're going to melt pretty hard. I will say, this gun is overkill for your mobbing, so stick to the Kettle Drum for that. And also keep in mind that it consumes a lot of ammo per shot, so with it being times 6, it consumes 6 ammo per shot. I'm sure a lot of you guys know too, but the Rain of Arrows does do friendly fire, so if you walk into it, you're going to die. Be careful. Like I said earlier, snipers are not the best for the build, but you can mob decently well with them. And in my opinion, the best sniper we have for Jacobs in this game is going to be the Carouser, and this will be a fire element lock gun too. The cool thing about the Carouser too is it does have a second use, so what you can do is shoot the enemy and they can sometimes turn on other enemies and fight for you. So use it if you find yourself in a sticky situation. The Catatumbo. This weapon is really nice. What it does is if you hit a critical hit, it will shoot lightning down from the sky, and that lightning hits really hard. You can use this weapon for mobbing and for bossing. It is that good. Also, unless your aim is really good, I only recommend using it when using From the Shadows. As for the rings, we have ourselves the Mood Ring, which will give you bonuses if your ward is not full, and since you will be taking a lot of hits, your shield is never going to be full. Ideally, try to get yourself a gun damage roll on top, and also something that benefits your Jacobs on the bottom. So boost your pistol damage, shotgun damage, sniper damage, assault rifle damage, action skill cooldown, and action skill duration. Those are my go-tos. For the second ring, we're doing the same thing, and this time we're doing the championship ring. So if you're fighting a boss, you're going to get 100% more bonuses. As for your shield, you want to go for the body rune because body rune's good for pretty much every build. And with the body rune, you're going to get 6.9% bonus damage just for having it on. And if you get a kill, you will get 15% HP back and also 16.5% bonus fire damage for a short duration. The card says 20%, but that is a lie. Now you could go for the Cursed Wood shield instead, but I like to have a little bit of survivability, so pop on the Cursed Wood if you're going to be doing maybe some bosses. For the armor, Smart Armor. This armor gives you 50% more crit damage at the cost of 50% crit chance. Remember, From the Shadows will have us hitting crits all the time, so we're getting a huge benefit out of this armor. As for the skills, the most important one is to get high thread count on it, and then ideally get your reload speed skill too. For the passives, try to get anything that will help your build out. More damage, more movement speed, more survivability, whatever you want. For the amulet, you definitely want to put on the Theurge, and what it does is if you throw a spell out, you're going to get 20% cooldown for your action skill. Remember, From the Shadows has a long cooldown of 36 seconds, so if we spam low cooldown spells, we can get our action skill back really fast. And of course, try to get things that help out the build like damage or mag size, stuff like that. Finally, for your spell, you want something that has low cooldown like the Arcane Bolt, or you could even pop on the Laser Hand spell too. Like I said, we want to spam spells to get our cooldown back fast for our From the Shadows. As for your enchants, you want to go for anything that's going to increase your damage, so for your melee weapon, I do recommend the Spellcast Damage Anoint. For all of your weapons, the only thing that really helps us is the action skill start 20% damage dealt anoint. You really don't have a lot of options for those. And as always, for any gun build, you want to go for the spellcast 30% gun damage anoint on your shield, and the spell is action skill start gun damage by 40%. One exception here is the Carouser because it is fire element, so for that gun, go ahead and get action skill active 50% fire damage. Alright, that's the basic setup, so let's go over the skill tree, and like I said, we have the Stabbo and the Spell Shot. Starting off, we have From the Shadows, and we definitely need this for our Jacob's build. With this action skill, we can hit guaranteed crits and ricochet bullets all over the battlefield, and enemies are going to melt pretty fast. Now, I'm not going to talk about every single skill because most of it's pretty straightforward. So we get more damage here, we get movement speed here, more damage, dot stacking, which will synergize with another thing over here. We'll get to that in just a second. More damage, and of course, we can run and gun. And after specking all of my skill points I definitely needed, we had 3 points left over. And those 3 went to 1000 cuts for even more damage. As for the Spell Shot, we have just our major skills over here, so any spell damage boost we have is being converted into gun damage, so that's just going to help out everything. We're going to have a lot more reload. Cooldown's going to be nice to have too. We do not need fire rate because we are shooting, reloading with Jacob, so fire rate, I promise you, will not help out the build a whole lot. Mage armor, so each time we reload, we're going to get shield back for our survivability. Glass cannon for the bonus spell damage that gets converted to gun damage from this skill. Also, our shield's not going to regen, but we can reload to get our shield back from this. And then we have our high threat count, which is going to give us even more spell damage, again, converting into gun damage. And then over here, we have imbue weapon, which means if we cast a spell, whatever the spell's element is will apply to our weapons. Remember, we have a dark magic arcane bolt, and you can use whatever element you want. So in this case, we're going to add dark magic to our weapons. Earlier, I mentioned this skill will have synergies, so what's going to happen here is we're going to apply the dark magic from our spell, and also the fire damage from our shield, the body rune, and that will give us an extra 12% damage on enemies. And finally, 1 slot 1 kill for more damage. So after reloading a bunch, we're going to have up to 11 stacks thanks to 2 out of 1 on thread count, and that will give us 44% more gun damage. Really nice to have. As for the hero points, I am playing with the Village Idiot modifier, so we have strength and dexterity maxed out. So you want to throw all of your points in there and buff your damage up as much as you can. As for the rest of your points, put them into skill cooldown to make sure you can get From the Shadows back fast. Alright, that's all the build stuff, so let's go ahead and show off the build in action. We made our way to the Chaos Chamber, so let's go ahead and do a run together. So we'll do a normal run, Chaos 20. There we go. We'll head on in, make sure you get your reloads in to get your stacks of spell weaving. And all of those stacks are going to go right into your gun damage. Starting out, we're going to do the hand bow, so we're going to use From the Shadows. There we go. Shoot at the enemy, and you're going to see it's going to ricochet 6 bullets and destroy everything around you. Looks like that guy moved and dodged a bullet, but not a big deal. That guy did get hit, though. And yeah, this thing hits really hard. Now that From the Shadows is over, we're going to cast our spell and get our cooldown back from the Theurge. So there we go, 0. And you can see we can get our action skill back in, like, no time at all. Don't worry, though, you don't have to hide and, like, you know, get your action skill back. You're not, like, out of commission. In the meantime, pull out your masher, run around, and destroy everything you see. Let's draw off the kettle drum, so we'll do our fadeaway, or gorillas in the mist. I don't know what you want to call it. It's the same kind of thing. And you can see here the shots are going to hit really, really hard. And don't forget, you can melee to get the amp damage too. But there is a timer on it, so it will wear off naturally if you don't shoot fast enough. There we go. Now we need our cooldown, so we'll wait on that. And again, you can shoot guns outside of your, what is it called, the From the Shadows. But you get the most damage out of From the Shadows. Alright, this guy here, so we'll do From the Shadows, do a tap, and then he's apparently dead, never mind. Also, we have a terrible modifier here. If you need shield back, make sure you reload and get that shield back up. And that's thanks to our Mage Armor skill. That's kind of it for the combat. You know, cast spells for your spellcast annoyance and also getting your Theurge to cool down your action skill. And then when you have it up, pop it on, tap the enemy, and then shoot them. Anyways, let's head over to a boss. Like I said before, the Rain of Arrows is only really for bossing. It does so much damage that for mobbing, it's complete overkill. So what we're going to do here is tap the boss once for the amp damage from our melee weapon, cast our spell for the spellcast annoyance, and then just get back, shoot a couple shots, and don't get pulled in by the boss, but oh my goodness, try that again. You know what, we're going to leave that fail in there. You know, things like that can happen. Alright, round 2, here we go. So we're going to get a melee tap to get the amp damage. We're going to back up a little bit here, use From the Shadows, and then waste the boss with the Rain of Arrows. And there we go, the boss is dead. Anyways, I think that's going to be everything for the build today. So if you want to download the save for yourself, it will be over on my Discord. Go over to the game save section and you can find it over there. And of course, the link to my Discord is down in the description. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, then please be sure to leave a like because that'd be awesome. And if you guys really enjoyed it and want to see more Wonderlands content, then be sure to sub. You guys have a great day and I will see you all later. Peace out.